time of this recording, the group stages of the 2022 FIFA World Cup have ended, but the round of 16 has yet to start. Now, I'm not a betting man, but I know many people decide to make predictions on who they think will win. There are many ways to try and predict who will win. Some will use expert analysis on past performance. Some may try to use statistics and maybe machine learning. Some may just go with who they want to win. Me, on the other hand, I decided to simulate the matches in Pro Evolution Soccer 2021. This is, of course, arguably the only way and the correct way in which this was done. So, of course, naturally, since life imitates art, the predictions and outcomes from this simulated tournament are going to be the actual predictions and outcomes for the World Cup happening in real life. So, let's see how the teams did. The round of 16 matches were fairly uneventful at the start, with the somewhat expected teams winning by only a single goal. For example, you had the Netherlands beating America by 1-0, you had Argentina beating Australia 2-1, you had Japan beating Croatia 1-0, and Brazil beating Korea 1-0. However, on the latter half of the bracket, things got interesting. Senegal beat England 1-0. Despite England having many opportunities at goal, every single shot they took only went just ever so slightly wide of the goalpost. Likewise, Poland was able to defeat the reigning champions France 1-0, even though Poland only took a single shot at goal. But one goal and one shot was all they needed. After this was the Spain-Morocco game as well as the Portugal-Switzerland game, both of which had to go all the way down to penalties, since at the end of extra time they were both tied at 0-0. But in the end, Spain and Argentina were able to win their respective matches. With the round of 16 done, it was time for the quarterfinals, which had much more interesting matches, especially since I increased the aggressiveness to +2 for all of these matches for both teams. First up was Netherlands versus Argentina, which started off very badly for Argentina. Although the half ended at 0-0, Argentina had 0 shots at all taken in the first half to the Netherlands' 5. Now you might be thinking, well, maybe in the second half they picked things up a bit, and you're right, they did pick things up a bit, because in the second half they ended once again at 0-0, but this time Argentina had 1 shot taken. The same thing would happen during extra time, and that would lead us to penalties, where unfortunately, due to an ever so close miss from Messi during his penalty kick, Argentina were kicked out by the Netherlands during the penalty shootout. Next up was the Japan-Brazil game, and unfortunately, despite Japan having a brilliant run in real life in the group stages, finishing top of their group and having a brilliant story about those two friends from high school being on the same team, unfortunately, it wasn't enough to overcome the Brazilians, and they lost 3-1, allowing Brazil to move on to the semifinals, sending Japan home. After that was the Senegal versus Poland game, which for the most part was a deadlock all the way up for the entirety of the regular time, even for the first half of extra time. However, at the final moments of the second half of extra time, literally at the final play, a free kick was given to Senegal from which they scored directly, allowing them to progress forward to the semi-finals, sending Poland home. The last quarter-final between Spain and Portugal took a while to get interesting, as the first half ended with a score of 0-0, but it didn't take long for Cristiano Ronaldo to put 2 on the board for Portugal. But if only it ended there, because after that, unfortunately, Spain scored a hat-trick, allowing them to win 3-2 with a reverse sweep against Portugal. The first semi-final between Netherlands and Brazil ended off pretty much in the first 6 minutes as Brazil scored, and that score of 1-0 led through the entirety of the rest of the match, meaning that Brazil progressed forward to the finals, while Netherlands would be stuck trying their best to only get the 3rd place position. Meanwhile, in the other semi-final, Spain started off with a good start against Senegal, scoring an early goal, and it looked like this was going to be the same story as the other semi-final, with Spain holding onto that lead for quite a good part of the game. But eventually, Senegal were able to equalize at the 70th minute, and what's worse is that in the literal 89th minute, Senegal were able to break the tie and score a goal to take the lead 2-1. However, with a minute left on the clock, Spain immediately after kickoff turned it around to equalize 2-2 to take it over into extra time. But just like their match against Poland, Senegal were able to find a single goal, allowing them to take the lead and beat Spain, and sending them down to the 3rd place playoff, while Senegal could go up and face Brazil in the finals. Speaking of the 3rd place playoff, the Netherlands were going into the end of the first half with an early lead of 2-0, and unfortunately for Spain, this was too big of a gap for them as they were only able to score a single goal, meaning that the 3rd place winner for the 2022 Qatar World Cup is going to be none other than the Netherlands. Meanwhile, the big prediction that everybody is waiting for, the match between Senegal and Brazil, started off explosively with good attempts from from both teams, forcing the keepers to work their hardest. However, it was the Brazilian goalkeeper who faltered first, allowing a goal for Senegal in. But that wasn't the only one, because after that, Senegal scored yet another goal to put them up 2-0 against Brazil before even the first half ended. It truly looked like Senegal were going to beat Brazil, and that Brazil were not going to score a single goal. In fact, the only reason why Brazil were able to score a goal was because Senegal were so good, they decided to score a goal against themselves. So in theory, technically speaking, Senegal scored all 3 goals of the match. But unfortunately, Brazil were only able to get one of those, meaning that the scoreline ended 2-1 to Senegal, meaning that the World Cup winners for Qatar 2022 is going to be none other than Senegal. Now, I know if you were probably paying attention to the clips that I was playing and paying attention to who was scoring and stuff like that, you'll probably realize that a lot of these teams are outdated. Like I said, I was playing on PES 21, and yeah, a lot of the players that you would see are not currently the actual team members. For example, the Brazilian team had none of the actual members. You probably saw like Willian and stuff like that. So before you type comments about how this is wrong and this is inaccurate and I should have done it with actual updated teams, please understand that this was just for fun and for jokes. I mean, what are the chances of the actual real life World Cup actually having the exact same results as this silly little simulation in a video game? That would be ridiculous. But on the offside that somehow this does end up coming true, just let it be known that I always believed in Senegal right from the start. In fact, after seeing this, I am fully supporting Senegal purely because of their performance in this silly little video game simulation that I did. So for me, it's Senegal all the way, baby. I believe in them.